August 30th, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 117. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Hello, Todd.
Hello, Seth.
How does the evening find you, Todd?
I've been better.
Do we find you in proper spirits this evening? Proper spirits to record a fine podcast. You know what, Todd? I don't even need a fine podcast. I need a nominal podcast.
I can't promise anything. Right.
I need a decent podcast.
I don't know about that. This episode will be meh. No.
We have a lot to cover on this episode.
No, we don't. No.
A lot. So much so you can pronounce it in 2 syllables. A lot. Well, I guess a lot's always going to be 2 syllables. But we're going to talk about such things as the open alpha for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We're going to talk about news coming out of Disney's D23 Expo. We're going to talk about some drama going on in the movie world. We're going to talk about some Nintendo stuff. We're going to talk about some Warcraft stuff. But before we do all of that, Todd, I want to ask you the age-old question. What, pray tell, have you been playing this week?
Honestly, I don't remember. I'm telling you, my week's blur. So I don't remember what I talked about last week, and I don't remember what I'm going to talk about now.
Well, I know of one thing in particular that we're for sure going to talk about that you've played this week, but I don't know what you've done beyond that.
What?
The Call of Duty Open
Oh,
Alpha.
yeah. Well, I guess we could kind of start with that.
Yeah. So I honestly wasn't really planning on fucking with this, but you sort of convinced me to check it out with you.
Yeah.
Because it was a 2v2 open alpha. Basically, it was essentially testing out the game's gunfight mode.
Mm-hmm.
So we both downloaded that and played it, and I had a really good time with it. What did you think?
I loved it. That is my type of game mode right there. That is like my bread and butter. I love those sorts of game modes, like this 2v2, random weapons. Let's go.
Yeah, so that was what was fun. So Gunfight, for those that haven't been keeping up, it is a 2v2 mode where at the beginning of each round, you are given randomized weapon loadouts, kind of on a smaller map, and it's basically just kill the other team, essentially. And it was what 6 rounds, I think.
Yeah,
like
whoever
first to six?
first to 6, because we ended up playing one long one because we kept on it was like 5-5 or some shit.
Yeah, so it's first to 6. Whoever gets to 6 victories first wins. And I think we played like 3 or 4 games, and I think we won
all of them.
All of them.
Yeah. Well, we didn't lose. I mean, we lost a couple rounds. We didn't lose any games.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I really liked the game mode. I think it's a pretty unique game mode. And it's the kind of thing where, like, when I was playing it, I was like, fuck, I kind of want to play this game.
Mm-hmm. And it just plays so differently from other Call of Duties.
That was actually what I wanted to segue, because this game, I was actually shocked at how differently this game feels from other Call of Duty games. So yeah, speak on that for a little bit. So
I can speak a little more on it, but it definitely plays a lot like Rainbow. Everything feels like everything has a weight to it.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very weighty game.
Like everything has so much weight to it. Every time you fire a gun, and shit, every weapon that I kind of like picked up kind of just felt good. Like the shotguns are fantastic in the game.
Shotguns are crazy.
Dude,
game.
They're gonna get fucking nerfed. I already know they're gonna get nerfed.
They must get nerfed because the range is absurd.
It brought me back to my good old Spaz 12 on like Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, those good old Modern Warfare 2 dog rapist days.
It's that good shit.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, dude. But I really enjoyed just the everything just felt heavier. Like Call of Duty's always kind of had like an arcadey kind of flow to it, and I don't think that is lost. Like it felt like Call of Duty still.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
It feels like it's Call of Duty meets Rainbow Six Siege. That is essentially what it is in like a nutshell. and I have nothing. I have no problem with that. It's actually made me want to go back and play Rainbow.
Yeah.
But then I remember that Rainbow has one of the most toxic communities of all life.
That's why I have no interest in dipping into that.
And it's just, I'm still thinking about dipping into it. I'm like trying to get one of my buddies from work to download it. So
yeah.
And
I mean, like, I own the game. I bought the game for like $7 on sale or something.
Here's
like
my
that,
thing. Here's my thing with Rainbow. I do respect this. There's actually, I jumped on there recently, and I see they have a new playlist for people under level like 50. Basically, hey, newbies, come play together.
Did they lock you out of that mode if you're over that level?
No. Yeah. I think you get locked out after that.
Okay.
But you can still play.
Because otherwise, I'm like, wow, that's just an all-you-can murder buffet.
No, you get locked out after like I think the level cap or whatever for it, and then at that point you just got to play like casual or ranked. But you can still play casual just at whatever level, doesn't matter. But if you really just want to get the hang of the game, like get the basics down before you start playing like casual, I respect. You can. I respect it.
I like that. Yeah, I respect that.
But yeah, Modern Warfare, like after playing the alpha, I'm just sitting there like, yeah, I'm happy I pre-ordered this.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to play, and that's important. I actually, I hadn't been keeping my ear to the ground as much as you had with the game, so I actually didn't realize that they were dramatically changing the mechanics like that.
Yeah. Like no mini maps now, a bunch of other stuff. But
yeah, a lot of like significant
dude, there
changes.
was this one weapon that I kind of know that I'm gonna be fucking with, is that lever action, bro.
That was a good one.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
I had fun with that.
That baby was good. It was just shit. I think my favorite kill that I got was when I slid. Like you were like, oh, I think he's behind that shipping container, and I just slid, and I feel like I slid past him and just rocked him with the shotgun. I'm like, yeah.
Well, it's funny because like despite how different it is, I didn't feel like it was difficult to pick back up.
No, not at all. Like everything just felt good. The only weapon where I kind of like felt like I had to get like used to was the deagle. The deagle felt really weird compared to what I'm used to.
Ironically, yeah, the Desert Eagle, I think feels faster than it has in the past.
Yeah,
like
it's fucking hilarious.
It feels lighter somehow,
dude. That thing one-shot headshots.
Oh yeah,
and it's just hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I sniped somebody with it. I'm like, oof, shit.
Just had a really good time. I mean, we didn't play it for super long, but like, I just had it.
Like we would have played longer if like the servers just like basically didn't fuck up.
Yeah, the servers kind of took a shit. It was an alpha.
So it's not that they, it's wrong. It didn't take a shit. They added the new game mode. Is
that what it was?
Yeah, the OSP, which is another version of Gunfight where instead of random weapons, you spawn with nothing, and the weapons that you can pick up are on the thing. Like there's like the equipment that you can pick up. There's the pistols right in front of you that you can pick up. The main weapon is usually in the center of the map, and it's like it's a fine game mode, but I just prefer like the standard gunfight where it's just.
Well, I like the speed of the standard gunfight.
Yeah,
I mean it's like I wouldn't imagine that any of the rounds that we played lasted more than like 2 minutes.
Yeah, they're fast. It's like, 'cause not everybody's like, they're not camping. I mean, there's people that are camping, but it's like, even then, it's like, it's only, it's one life every round. It's like, just fly through it.
Well, because the levels are so small, it's actually not a good idea to camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really isn't. I don't know. I really had a good time. That was the kind of mode where I was like, man, like, when I'm thinking about gunfight mode and when I'm thinking about like the Spec Ops mode that's coming back, there's actually a lot of really cool co-op options in this, which is attractive to me. Like that makes me actually want to play it.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like we're gonna get some decent video content out of it because I already know I plan on playing through the campaign. Which that'll be easy. It's like I'm probably just gonna do like every mission an episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still probably not gonna pick it up at launch.
I definitely am.
At some point, I will probably end up playing that game. There's just so much coming. I just wish, again...
So that's probably what ends up happening. When you pick it up, like, I'll probably have already beaten the campaign. At that point, I'll do Spec Ops with you and make that a video series as well.
Yeah, there's just too much coming out. I'm just like, God damn it, dude. I can't squeeze in another game in this time frame. There's just too much. There's way too... and it's funny. Even cutting out... I actually made a list today. even cutting out games like Ni no Kuni and Dragon Quest and stuff like that.
Oh, so you decided to cut out Dragon Quest?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up Dragon Quest later because even cutting those 2 games out, I'm still buying 7 games before the end of the year.
Fuck. I think at this point I'm only getting 2 because I've cut everything out. See, everything must die before the almighty duo of games that I'm buying. So it's like
and that's true.
Here's the thing with those. Those are games for life for me type of shit.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and that's the 1-2 punch because you're gonna. I mean, you've got Monster Hunter next week, and you've got Borderlands the week after. I think you're picking up Pokemon, right?
Oh yeah, that's 3 games. 3 games.
Pokemon and Jedi Fallen Order are both in November.
So yeah, 4 games. But that's 2 games in September and then 2 games in November.
2 games in November, Call of Duty in October.
Yeah.
I don't think you're picking up anything else in October.
So that's essentially it. So I got 5 games.
You're spread a little more thinly than I am. We're basically getting the same games, except I'm peppering in some more little stuff. Like I'm getting Concrete Genie and Medieval in October. I'm getting Link's Awakening at the end of September and Luigi's Mansion at the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
But again, and that's cutting out stuff like Death Stranding. Like I really want to play Death Stranding, but it's like, ugh, this year's too big.
It's like the beginning of this year was dog shit. Then it's like, hey, how you doing?
Hi, let's bottom load this fucking diaper of a year.
It's like shit.
It's rough. But I do plan on picking up that game at some point. If there becomes a situation again where I can get my hands on that game for like literally half off, like we did with Black Ops 4,
yeah,
of course I'm gonna pick it up. But
I'm trying to think of other shit that I've been playing other than like occasional Smash with you.
Playing a little Smash here and there.
Were you getting butt hurt with shit randoms?
God, I got bad randoms the other night. I don't think I got a single character.
Dude,
which
I forget what matchup it was where you just said fuck this, I'm not doing this.
It was.
I think you were playing Wii Fit Trainer.
That sounds right, actually.
I don't remember who I was playing, but it was like Wii Fit Trainer, and I definitely had like a character I was decent with, and I was kind of I think I was beating the dog shit out of you.
Yeah, I just couldn't get a hit, and I was like, you know what, fuck this, and I just like committed seppuku, basically. It was really bad. I got literally nobody, but it is what it is. Yeah. Anything else?
I mean, I could mention the fact that I bought this game, but I'm definitely gonna talk about it more next week. I ended up buying Remnant, which is I don't know, it's not even the full title. I don't even remember. It's like Remnant, like Lost in the Ashes.
Is it Remnant from the Ashes?
I think it's from the Ashes. Remnant from the Ashes. Yeah. Which I've been hearing about. It's been like fucking sponsored ads everywhere.
Sounds interesting, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's kind of was my thing. I was like, it's $40, and I kind of was like, I got a free week basically before the fucking.
Yeah.
So I ended up.
You got to play something.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wanted to do something. It's like it's. I mean, I'm a hot take. It's essentially Souls-like with guns.
Yeah, which is what's interesting about it.
Yeah, I haven't played much because I ended up like hanging out with some friends today, so it was kind of like fucked up with some shit. But
friends.
What I have friends, right? Who has friends?
What are friends? What is that?
I honestly don't know. But but from what I've played, you know, I enjoy it. It has some interesting things going on. But I'll definitely report back next week. Probably, shit, I might have it beat by then.
I'm sure you will, yeah.
And at that point, I can give a little review on it. But
yeah, we'll look forward to that next week. I've got, at the time you're listening to this, Astral Chain is now available, but of course, I have not had a chance to play it yet. I do own a copy of the game, but next week I'll have my full impressions of Astral Chain because my goal is to. I've basically got like 2 weeks to really marinate with Astral Chain, so
before
I plan on
the beginning of your fucking.
Yeah, my fucking begins when Borderlands comes out.
Before your hole opens up.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad, but I'm gonna have some time to really marinate on Astral Chain, and I'll have impressions of that next week as well. As far as other stuff I've been doing this week, it's funny, I wanted to talk about this because I was like kind of futzing around. You know, I've been wanting to play like old PS3 games lately. And I was futzing around on a PS Now, and they have like a 7-day free trial going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first of all, they kind of pissed me off with this because they have this whole like auto renew shit where whenever you go to try the free trial, they set you up for an auto renewal automatically at the end of it.
Yeah, it's so dumb. That's
like,
straight bullshit, dude.
I'm like, yeah, no. So I went in immediately and like turned off the auto renew, but I still got to play with PS Now for a week, you know, for free. And I decided to spend that week playing through Sly 2 as part of the PS3 Sly collection. Because I had platinumed Sly 1 via that collection and never platinumed Sly 2. Mm. So I was like, you know what? A week is long enough to play through Sly 2. And I really like those games. And Sly 2 is a really good entry. That's one of those series that got better with each entry.
I feel like I've played at least the first one, but never beat it.
It's just a really good series. It's just a really fun stealth action, comic booky kind of series. It's, you know, Sucker Punch's kind of early games, and you can definitely feel the Sucker Punch DNA in them. And I don't know, they're iconic PlayStation games, so it was fun. It was a fun time to go back and play through Sly 2 and platinum that game, and that's pretty much the bulk of what I've been playing this week. But I also downloaded the Dragon Quest XI S demo and was fucking around with that. It's sort of like it's funny because it was only like just recently that people figured out how far that demo actually goes. Because the first day that demo was out, people were like, I literally don't know when this demo stops.
So how many hours are people putting in?
Yeah, like, so shit. You can literally, I believe you can play that demo up until the story beat where you get the second to last party member.
So, but at that point, are you like, is there like side quests and shit?
Oh yeah,
so like you can sit there and legitimately do side quests and shit up until that point.
It is the full game up until that point.
That's incredible.
Like you can literally spend like 20 plus hours with this demo.
Fuck.
And it's funny because it's honestly pretty ballsy. I was thinking about this. It's honestly pretty ballsy from Nintendo's perspective because you kind of run the risk of people kind of getting their fill before the game comes out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's actually why I decided not to spend a whole lot of time with it, because I do want to play the game. I wanted to basically wet my beak and like see if it was something that I would be interested in. And it definitely is. I liked what I was playing of it. But I didn't want to get my fill from the demo and then forget about it. Which I think is a risk. I think that's a risk that they sort of take by offering such an extensive demo. But it's really cool because they've got a free like DLC pack that you can carry over into the full game when the full game launches on the 27th of September. All of your progress from the demo can carry over into the full game. And I think you even get a spirit in Smash Ultimate when you play the demo.
Wow.
So, I mean, they're really pushing this game, Dragon Quest XI S. And it's good, man. I mean, like, if you've never played a Dragon Quest game, these are, like, JRPG-ass JRPGs. Like, they're very traditional. And Dragon Quest XI just feels like it feels old school in a way that I appreciate. And the Switch port of this is kind of amazing because like I've seen this game played on PS4 and the Switch version really does not look very much worse. And it runs like butter, like no issues, no frame rate issues or anything like that. Runs perfectly.
Butter doesn't run, so yeah. No.
It looks and feels great. They have reorchestrated the music. That was a big problem with the initial release of Dragon Quest XI was a lot of the music was MIDI compositions, and that annoyed a lot of people. So the entire soundtrack has been completely reorchestrated for this release. And although it isn't available in the demo, there is also the option to play the game in 2D mode, where you can play this game like in the style of one of the old Dragon Quest games.
Oh, wow.
Like, they've designed the game to where you can play it from a 2D pixel-esque perspective. It's really remarkable to see it in action. You can't do it in the demo, but I've seen footage of that way of playing the game, and it's really interesting. So there's just a lot of bang for your buck here. This is clearly the definitive edition of Dragon Quest XI, and I already know that that's like 100+ hour JRPG that you can really sink your teeth into. Seems to have a cool story. I really like the music. There's one thing that I really respect about this game, because between like little sessions of dabbling into the demo, there'd be a couple of days where I hadn't played it or whatever. And whenever you load up your save, there's a nice little refresher of here's what's going on kind of thing while the game is loading.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the story so far, kind of setting you back on the path, like, hey, by the way, you were heading to this city or whatever. And I really like that. I'm like, man, I wish more games would do that. Because I can't tell you how many games, especially RPGs like this, where I'll stop playing it and I come back and I have no idea what the fuck I was doing.
That's some real shit.
There have been games that I've literally restarted because of that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'll literally be playing a game. I can't remember the last time I did this, but it's definitely happened in the past. I'll be playing a game, and I'll turn it back on after not playing it for a few months or whatever, and I'll be like, I am so lost, I literally feel like I need to restart the game. I have no idea where I am or what I'm doing or anything.
Goddamn.
So it's nice that Dragon Quest XI S has got that baked into its design. So it's really good. I really do want to play it. I'm not going to have time to play it this fall, as we've talked about. We are officially getting into the fall clusterfuck season. So there's just not going to be any room for Dragon Quest, but I do want to get to that game eventually. I think this Switch version is definitely the version of this game to play if you're going to play it. So I recommend you check out the demo if you're a JRPG fan. This is very, very much turn-based, classic JRPG-ass JRPG. It's got that Akira Toriyama art, which is kind of love it or hate it. Personally, I love it, but there's some people who have problems with Toriyama's art.
What's wrong with Toriyama's art, goddammit?
It's just some people don't like it. Some people don't like the way he, the eyes and stuff like that. I've always been a fan. So for those that are unfamiliar, Akira Toriyama is probably most famous for being the art director of the Dragon Ball series. So if you're familiar with the way characters look in Dragon Ball, if you like the art style of Dragon Ball, you like Akira Toriyama's art. So anyway.
I do like it, no.
But he also did, the Dragon Quest series, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, blah, blah, blah. So that's neither here nor there, Todd. That's pretty much what I've been playing. PS Now was an interesting way to play through Sly 2. I'll say that. It is funny to think about it, because like I said, I spent a lot of time with Sly 2, and I'm just like, I just played through that entire game, and I streamed it from the internet. That was weird. And I didn't really have... every now and then I would have little laggy issues, but it was very few and far between. It probably only fucked with my gameplay twice the entire time I played the game.
That's good.
For the most part, it was imperceptible. Playing that game, for the most part, you wouldn't have known that I didn't just have it in my PS4. I wish there was a way to download the games, the PS3 games, because you can actually download to your system the PS4 and PS2 games, but the PS3 games you can't do that because the PS3 was built using Witch's Brew or whatever the fuck, and it's completely incompatible.
It's like the PS3 was designed to be absolute ass.
They used this weird proprietary cell technology that was so difficult to develop for, and that's why early in the PS3's life, a lot of third parties didn't want to support PlayStation because it was so difficult to develop for this weird rudimentary system architecture. So that's why when PS4 rolled around, they made it very similar to PC and Xbox development. So, which is what they should have done. So anyway, as a result of how complicated the cell processor was, it's not possible to play PS3 games on PS4. The only way to do it is by streaming it. So, it's a bit of a bummer. It is what it is. I hope that one day they figure it out, because I really do think the PS3's got some great games. And it's especially egregious when you consider that PS Now is asking for $20 a month just for access to its service. And it does not have the roster of games that Xbox Game Pass has. It's not as good as Game Pass. And you can do Game Pass Ultimate, which includes Xbox Live Gold, for just $15 a month. So there's really no excuse for Sony to be charging as much as they are. That's neither here nor there, Todd. I've got some news. If you're ready to dive into it, we've got some news to talk about.
I'm not ready, honestly. No,
Shall we begin, Todd, with Disney's D23 Expo?
I suppose.
So Disney's D23 Expo did happen this week, which is their sort of like big D23, I think is their like fan kind of expo or whatever. A lot of media and investors go as well. They actually do drop some pretty significant news there as of late. So that happened this past week in Anaheim. And as you can probably imagine, a ton of news was dropped during this event, which spans all of the many intellectual properties that Disney owns now. Because Disney owns everything.
Except Sony. No.
Yeah. I mostly wanted to touch on some highlights from the Star Wars and Marvel side of things. They announced some like Disney-related things too, but this being a kind of nerdy pop culture show, I think it's more appropriate if we cover the superhero stuff and the space shit. So, let's start with Star Wars, Todd. A lot of things, as it turns out, are happening in a galaxy far, far away. So we got an awesome new trailer for The Mandalorian, did you watch it?
I did. I love it.
Oh, you know me, I'm not a trailer watcher guy, but when it comes to Star Wars, I'll watch the trailer. It was a great trailer. A lot of people saw like the character's name is IG-11 in it, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's IG-88." No, it's not. It's an IG like model, but it's not IG-88.
Mm-hmm.
Voiced by Taika Waititi, by the way.
God bless.
So The Mandalorian is premiering when Disney Plus launches on November 12th. The show has already been picked up for a second season. The first season will run for 8 episodes. And this is interesting, Todd. We learned during D23 that they will not be operating the way Netflix does. And what I mean by that is they will not be throwing all of the episodes of their shows up at once so that you can binge them like Netflix does. They will actually, when it comes to their shows, be releasing them on a weekly basis as if you were watching live television.
And I have no problem with it.
I personally like it. A lot of people are a little up in arms about it because there are people who like to be in that binge culture. But for me, I like the social aspect. I like having to turn it on every week and watch the new episode and stuff like that. That's good to me. I don't know. Maybe it's a personal preference thing. But for me, I welcome that. I don't like binging stuff. I like to take my time. I like to marinate. You understand what I'm saying?
I can do both.
Now, we also got a little bit of news regarding the return of Star Wars The Clone Wars, that animated series from Dave Filoni. It was confirmed for a February 2020 release window. No new footage was shown, no further details were given, but it is nice to have a concrete date to look forward to. We got some exciting news. So it's funny because this actually broke the day after last week's episode went live when we reported on the rumor of this. But it was officially confirmed. Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy took the stage, where she welcomed Ewan McGregor to confirm that, yes, an Obi-Wan Kenobi series is indeed in development for Disney+.
Let's fucking go!
Oh my god, my nipples are hard. I loved the way that she did it. Like he comes on stage and he's like, Kathleen, can you do me a favor? Will you ask me if I'm going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again? Basically. And she did. And he just looks at the crowd and he's like, yes. And the crowd just explodes, you know? Oh man, it was so good. And they're playing like the Revenge of the Sith music behind it and everything. It's like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So ready. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum and like theorized and talked about what we want to see from the Obi-Wan show and stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I'm so on board, man. We don't know hard details, like we don't know the official title or anything, or like how many episodes it's going to be, but we do know that all of the episode scripts have been written.
Okay.
And we know that shooting is scheduled to take place next year. So it stands to reason that we're probably going to end up seeing this sometime in 2021, if I had to guess. But it's nice to know that this is actually something that is in development. The scripts are written. Depending on when they start shooting, I mean, if they start shooting early in the year, we could feasibly get it by next fall, but I sort of doubt that's going to happen. But we'll see. We shall see. I think there was a little bit of literature that popped up on StarWars.com that implicated that the series was going to be taking place 8 years after Episode 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But other than that, we don't really know any hard details.
8 years on Tatooine, eh?
I believe that's what was being thrown around there. Now, finally, in terms of Star Wars news, we got a new sort of, I wouldn't even go as far as to call it a trailer. It was really just new footage and a little piece of footage that they put together for the convention involving Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And this footage showcased a bunch of new stuff from the movie, featuring stuff like, red-eyed C-3PO. And most importantly, the big one, the Megaton, at the very end, Rey wielding a double-bladed red lightsaber and wearing a dark robe.
Shout out to the GIFs I've seen.
Oh, I've seen some stupid GIFs too, where it's like a Swiss Army knife.
Yes, it's like, because you know what it is. Before I watched the trailer, I didn't realize it was gonna flip down, because I was just hearing it was a double-bladed lightsaber. I'm like, cool, baller. Go watch the video, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna get some good GIFs.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of like stuff that has been gleaned from this, and I was wondering what your thoughts on this were, seeing this footage. Not even just about Rey in particular, just everything. What do you make of it?
Well, like everything, like my theory on it.
Not even. Well, yeah. I mean, I want to hear your theories on it, but I also just want to know what you.
I mean, everything I saw is cool. Like I'm curious why the fuck C-3PO's got red eyes. Is he activating kill mode? Is he about to go in on some motherfuckers? Like.
We have actually heard through leaks and stuff that C-3PO is going to play a really major role in this film.
Really?
Yeah. It seems like he is going to have access to some like forbidden data or something.
Be the voice of Palpatine.
Yeah, we actually did hear the voice of Palpatine in this trailer. We saw what looked like Rey and Kylo engaged in a really intense battle on like some Death Star wreckage.
Yeah. I saw people, I swear to God, people were like giving shit for like some puddle shit.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? Where like his cape wasn't showing up in the puddle?
Yeah, just some dumb shit.
Like, come on, guys. Come on.
The VFX aren't done yet, guys. It's not. The shit's not done yet.
These motherfuckers can't even have a cape. Oh my God. What the fuck? What the fuck?
And we got some shots of like of Finn and this new character Janna in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, looking up at what looks like hundreds of like Star Destroyers in the sky. What's interesting to me is like seeing that imagery of the lightning flash, and you see the Star Destroyers in the sky. It must be, it's got to be hundreds. The sky is just filled with them. And it is very Empire-esque imagery. You know, like when you look at that ship, when you look at a Star Destroyer, you think Empire. You think OG Star Wars. These are not ships that come in really much in the sequel trilogy. You see these ships in the OT, right? Mm-hmm. So to see that imagery in the sequel trilogy just makes, even now I have goosebumps as I'm talking about it. And it just goes to show like that we're really coming full circle with this film. It was nice to see some like shots of the whole gang together. Again, this is all happening really fast and stuff, but just everything that I see, it makes me very happy. And the Rey thing at the end, there are a lot of people who are speculating. I think common consensus is that everybody does sort of agree that this is most likely a Force vision, which was sort of even confirmed a little bit by StarWars.com, where they ran kind of a reactionary article regarding the footage that was shown. And in it, they specifically referred to it as a vision. They said, when we see the vision of Rey wielding the red lightsaber and stuff. And everybody sort of held that under the microscope, and then they quickly, of course, removed that part from the piece. So, I think they sort of showed their cards a little bit there, revealing that it was in fact a vision.
I mean, that's kind of my first thought. I'm like,
which of course it is. If it was gonna be a major plot beat that Rey was going to the dark side, do you think they would just show it in a trailer?
oh hell no, that's stupid.
There have been a lot of like theories floating around. Is Rey a clone? There's some pretty compelling like Rey clone theories that
Clone of who?
Just a clone in general, that there are like multiple Reys.
Yeah, I guess.
There's some compelling theories about that. I won't get too into the weeds on that because I would sit here for another 30 minutes talking about it. But a lot of theories.
Are they trying to bring out like the fucking scene where there's a shit ton of Reys in that one vision in Last Jedi? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. That's one of the pieces of corroborating evidence. But there was a cloning facility on Jakku that Palpatine orchestrated in canon. So there's a lot of like little puzzle pieces that people have put together to think that Rey has clones out there or something like that. There's also rumors that Matt Smith's character is a character referred to as the Son, and that he actually has an ability to command the Force that allows him to shapeshift.
Whoa, they're bringing that?
That's what the rumor is.
Really? They're actually going to bring the Son into the movies?
They say that's the rumor, is that they have that Matt Smith's character. I don't know if they're going for that or not, but they say that his character is referred to as the Son, and he has the ability to use the Force to shapeshift, and that this vision of Rey is actually the Son shapeshifting to appear as Rey.
I mean,
so
because you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's true or not. That seems a little fanficky to me.
It's definitely some fanficky shit. That's why I was like, really? They're really gonna do that?
Yeah, because the Son, of course, dealing with the Mortis stuff. That I don't think we're gonna dive into like Mortis and shit like that.
That's when shit gets real fucking weird.
That's probably the weirdest shit in the Clone Wars series, like the father and the daughter and the son on Mortis.
Yeah, it's just fucking weird.
I don't know if they're going for that or not. It would be interesting.
Interesting as hell, but I feel like a lot of people are just gonna be like, "The fuck is this?"
It would require a lot of backstory.
Mm-hmm. It like for people to truly understand. I mean, like, I feel like if we saw, like, I saw it, you saw it, we're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like if you see the Son and you know about the Mortis trilogy and stuff, that's cool. But like, I feel like if you wanted to introduce these concepts to a general audience, like people who haven't seen the Clone Wars, they wouldn't know what the fuck is going on. So anyway, that is a theory. Is that the and maybe this is just like a different interpretation of the Son or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if this rumor is real at all, frankly. But that's a rumor that is floating around, is that Matt Smith's character is referred to as the Son in the film, and that he has the ability to use the Force to shapeshift, and that this is him shapeshifting as Rey at some point in the film. I don't know. I think smart money is on this being just a Force vision. I think this is probably going to be a moment of like temptation of Palpatine trying to get to Rey, like demonstrating like, hey, this is
true power.
Your true power. Yeah, I think this is going to be like the kind of shit.
The dark side.
The dark side. Yeah, just showing off like this is what you could have basically if you gave in.
You can have a fucking Swiss Army lightsaber.
You can have a dildo sword. It's just so I think that's probably the most likely outcome here, but we'll see. We don't have long to wait, Todd. The movie comes out in December. I am so excited. Can't wait. You best believe I'll be fighting off nerds at midnight to watch that movie. Moving into the realm of Marvel, Todd, we got a few interesting tidbits. Nothing really as megaton as anything that happened with Star Wars news, but some things to discuss. For starters, while shooting has not officially began for WandaVision yet, we were given a tone piece to demonstrate what the series will be going for. It is described as, quote, half classic sitcom, half full MCU spectacular. A poster for the series was shown, and upon closer inspection, not all may be as it seems.
House of M.
It seems like, we were talking about this recently, it seems like they are going to go a very House of M direction.
Oh, definitely.
With this movie. So, for those that don't know, House of M is a comic book arc old comic book arc from like I believe the early 2000s, where Scarlet Witch essentially goes crazy and creates like different realities.
2005 to be exact.
Okay, so yeah. Essentially creating different realities, coping with I believe, the loss of her children. And I think this is essentially going to be what WandaVision is. It's going to be about Wanda creating a reality where she still has Vision, right? Because Vision obviously dies in the events of Infinity War / Endgame. So I feel, and this has been confirmed, I believe, to be taking place post-Endgame. So, and it even ties into Doctor Strange 2, we've heard.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems likely to me, and you even see some weirdness in the poster where it looks like kind of a 50s I Love Lucy kind of like sitcom. But then you can see outside, the poster's in full color, except you can see outside it's black and white. And it just looks a little weird. There's just a little bit of an offsetting tone to the entire thing. It's a little creepy. And what have we heard? We've heard this series is going to be weird. This is the weirdest thing Marvel's ever done, blah, blah, blah. So I think this is really going to showcase Scarlet Witch's ability, and we're really going to see some reality-bending shit in this show. And I'll be honest, it's got me interested in it.
Yeah, and then also again, you mentioned the fact that her shadow looks like has her old school crown.
You can see, and I'm assuming this was intentional, because you can see one of the only shadows that are cast in the entire poster is, she is casting a shadow on the wall, and you can clearly see by the shape of it, it looks like the classic Scarlet Witch
also,
crown.
I don't know if you noticed this. It's the Vision his shadow's different too as well. Actually, it looks like he has like his gem back in his head and shit.
Yeah, so I feel like that has to be intentional, to get picked apart. It's an interesting poster. Again, just seeing this has got me more interested than any of the language they've used before, because I'm like, this looks like this is essentially going to be their take on House of M.
And that's honestly like why it has my interest now, because I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. And then it's also because originally when they were first talking about it, I'm like, I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, I kind of want to see what the hell's going on with it, because it's going to tie into Doctor Strange too.
Right.
But now I'm like, shit, I might have to watch it, because I'm like really interested now.
I'm kind of down. Kind of really down. They got me interested. While virtually no details were given, Todd, it was confirmed that She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and Moon Knight all have series in development for Disney+.
Why does Miss Marvel have to?
People love Miss Marvel. Kamala, people love her. Kamala Khan, Todd.
I guess.
But Moon Knight, that's exciting.
Moon Knight, yeah. Moon Knight!
Moon Knight, we're big fans of Moon Knight on this show. It's exciting that Moon Knight's getting his own series. We don't know anything about them. I'm assuming, given that we know about Disney Plus series that are in like 2022, I have to imagine these series are like way off. So I don't expect that we're going to see any of these series anytime soon.
I did see the poster for I don't know, is it Falcon and Winter Soldier, or Winter Soldier and Falcon?
I think it's Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. See, they're chopping my boy's hair off.
Yeah, I saw that. And it's interesting that they're not going for like Falcon as Captain America quite yet. So maybe that's something that
maybe
deal
there's
with.
a hope. A chance.
So yeah, we don't know any details, but it's cool that these shows are in development. And finally, to wrap up this sort of mini Marvel news, as if there were ever any doubt, a sequel to last year's Black Panther is most certainly coming from director Ryan Coogler. The official title was not revealed, but the release date was. The movie is coming on May 6th, 2022.
Oh, shit.
So we got a few years between us and
I'm wondering what they're going to tackle with them.
I mean, we'll see, right? We got some Marvel movies between then and now, too, so we'll see what the status quo of the Marvel universe is.
I honestly still wish they didn't kill Claw.
Yeah, you can go some places with Claw. I like Claw as a villain.
And Andy Serkis was so fucking good.
He was really good.
You could tell he was having fun with that shit.
He was one of he just like ate the scenery while he was on screen, you know. So that's what I got for Marvel news this week, Todd. But I'm not quite done in the realm of film, because the much anticipated Breaking Bad movie now has a title, trailer, and release date. It's called El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, and it will premiere on October 11th on Netflix. The trailer features side character Skinny Pete being interrogated about the whereabouts of Aaron Paul's Jesse Pinkman after the events of the series finale. You a Breaking Bad fan?
I've only watched up to season 2.
Oh, Lord. I love that show. That's one of my favorite shows.
I'll be honest, it's hard for me to sit down and watch TV.
Yeah.
Even on Netflix, and I can just binge it.
Here's the thing. I don't really get into shows. Breaking Bad was a show that I got very, very into.
It's here's the thing. I liked what I liked everything that I watched. I just kind of fell off it.
Yeah. So I won't spoil the events, I guess, just in case there's any sort of hope that you might one day go back.
But you can't. I already know the story.
Well, so after the events of the series, Jesse Pinkman's fate is sort of left up in the air. It's sort of ambiguous. We don't quite know what happens to him.
Yeah.
So it seems like this movie is going to deal with that. So that's interesting. It looks like the police are still looking for him. Netflix has released an official synopsis for the film. Quote, "The Netflix television event El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, reunites fans with Jesse Pinkman, Emmy Award winner Aaron Paul. In the wake of his dramatic escape from captivity, Jesse must come to terms with his past in order to forge some kind of future." End quote. So, interesting.
Was it him trying to get a normal life going or some shit?
That's going to be the interesting thing, because it's after everything he goes through, during the events of the show, I don't know that he can have a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be really interesting. I'm a huge fan of Breaking Bad. That would literally be in my top 5 favorite shows of all time. So very excited for this. October 11th, that is premiering on Netflix. One last bit of movie news here, Todd, and then we'll move on to some video game stuff. I figured we would touch on movie news first this week, since we ended with movie news last week. Unfortunately, the Uncharted film seems to have found itself back in troubled waters.
God damn it.
Deadline reports that director Dan Trachtenberg has left the project, which makes him the 5th director to do so over the course of this film's nearly decade-long stint in development hell. Deadline reports that Tom Holland is still attached to the project, and that Sony is trying to quickly find a replacement director by the end of the summer, as their goal is to begin to start shooting in early 2020. We don't know too many details about why he left, although Dan hinted on Twitter that he left the project over creative differences. So I follow him on Twitter, and he tweeted this out. He says, quote, "Listen, guys, I've been dreaming of making movies since I was 3 years old. And throughout these years, I've been hearing of directors leaving projects over creative differences and wondering what that was about. So I guess what I'm saying is, sometimes dreams do come true." End quote. So he has all but confirmed that he left the project over creative differences. And I gotta be honest, everything that I hear coming out of this project kind of worries me, because I get the sense that they don't want to make that faithful of an Uncharted movie. I get the sense that they don't really that they're not that interested. Because I remember in the early days of this movie's development, Mark Wahlberg was going to play Nathan Drake, and Robert De Niro was attached at some point. Just this movie's gone through so many different permutations. I don't know what the hell they want anymore. And then now there's the whole Sony video game movie publishing arm that they recently kind of brought into existence, and they're trying to sort of do right by these PlayStation movies. I'm just what's going on? What I can say is that if anybody would know how to make Dan Trachtenberg is a huge gamer, and is a huge nerd, and I know that he would. If he was given creative control, I know he would make a proper Uncharted movie. So the fact that he's leaving the project over creative differences worries me, because, in other words, I know that Dan Trachtenberg knows how to make a good Uncharted movie. So if you're disagreeing with his vision, that worries me.
They don't want to make a good Uncharted movie.
I just wonder if they want the tone of it to be too goofy or something like that, or if they want to.
Uncharted can be goofy.
Well, Uncharted is goofy.
That's what I'm saying. You should.
Uncharted is supposed to be fun, and there's supposed to be a lightness to it, but I wonder if they want to go too far in one direction or the other. Uncharted is a good balance. of seriousness and campiness. It's supposed to be Indiana Jones. And I wonder if they want to take it too far in either direction, and Dan Trachtenberg didn't like that. I don't know. We'll likely never know. But the good news is, the potentially good news is, it sounds like Sony is ready to replace him quickly and start to actually get the ball rolling on this movie soon. Sounds like they want to start shooting in early 2020, so I imagine we will hear about the new director soon, reportedly by the end of summer. Todd, let's move into video game news.
Yes!
We've got some video game news here. Real quick, I know this isn't something that you're interested in, but I certainly am. Mario Kart Tour will be hitting iOS and Android devices on September 25th, Nintendo announced this week. Pre-registration is now live on iOS, effectively downloading the game to your phone as soon as it's available.
If you saw my face when you said this shit.
I know you don't care about it, but I really like Nintendo's mobile games.
A look of disgust.
I feel like Nintendo's done a really solid job, and as a matter of fact, looking at some of the footage of Mario Kart Tour, it seems like this actually has the potential to be the most, like, faithful to its original property. Like, this looks like a legit Mario Kart game.
Okay.
If you actually look at the footage, it looks pretty good. The game will have players racing around, quote, courses inspired by real-world cities, in addition to classic Mario Kart courses, and these will rotate every 2 weeks. So, that's interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how they microtransaction the fuck out of this game, though. We'll see how gross it is when it launches on September 25th. I will certainly be giving this a download. You know I'm a big Mario Kart fan. This is interesting, Todd. This applies to you.
I'm listening.
It seems the popular hero shooter Overwatch could well be on its way to Nintendo Switch. An Amazon listing for a Nintendo Switch case was accidentally posted and quickly removed, but not before the internet dug in its grubby little claws. The case features the Overwatch logo prominently on its front, complete with orange accents and an orange handle. It actually is a pretty slick-looking case. Most importantly, though, is that the product is, quote, officially licensed by Nintendo and Blizzard Entertainment. So, whether this was leaked in error or if it was posted too early is unclear, but the question still remains, Todd, why would an Overwatch product exist for a system that the game is not available for?
'Cause it's gonna be on the Switch, Seth.
It must be, right?
It has to be, Seth.
I imagine that...
But I won't be playing it unless I get my skins.
That's some real shit. I hope that that they have an option for players who own the game on PC or other consoles where you can have parity and still access all of your skins and have your player rank and stuff like that.
I have too many goddamn skins on PS4.
Yeah. Either way...
All of them almost.
I mean, either way you slice it, I think it's cool that... I've long said that there's no reason Overwatch should not be on the Switch. The system can absolutely run Overwatch. I mean, we've played Paladins. Overwatch does not.
Paladins runs a little shittier. It looks a little shittier, though.
I mean, Paladins is not as optimized. It still runs pretty well and doesn't look that worse, I don't think, than Overwatch. Paladins, by the way, also has a lot more players at a time than Overwatch does, too. And is an independent studio. So, as an independent studio versus Blizzard, who has a lot more resources to optimize Overwatch. I think Overwatch is a perfect fit.
But the biggest question of all time, do we still have faith in Blizzard? No, I'm sure.
I think Overwatch is the perfect fit for Switch. You'll remember last year I predicted that this was kind of one of my wild predictions for E3 earlier this year. And did not happen, but it seems like it may be happening imminently. I imagine that, I'm telling you, we will certainly be getting a Direct in September. I don't know when in September, but at some point in September, we will be getting a Nintendo Direct. And I imagine that this will be unveiled there. There are a lot of people who speculate. Somebody was on 4chan. And again, take this with a massive grain of salt because this is so easy to fake and it's apropos of nothing. But somebody on 4chan alleges that the Direct is happening on September 16th, I believe, and that they will be unveiling the next Smash fighter, and that it will be a female character and one that nobody has been asking for. So now, coupled with this Overwatch news, a lot of people are like, maybe it's Tracer. Or maybe it's an Overwatch character. So.
Oh, Lord.
I guess we'll have to see. Again, this stuff is very easy to fake. Fake Smash news happens literally every day. But...
Fake news.
Yeah, so... But it does seem, either way, it does seem that Overwatch is on its way to Switch. Speaking of Blizzard, Todd, nostalgia is in the air this week, following the launch of World of Warcraft Classic. And folks are indeed getting the classic WoW experience. You young whippersnappers finally get to live the way I lived. A few hours prior to launch, nearly all of the available realms were filled. Blizzard has stated that the realms for WoW Classic allow for thousands more players than the original servers ever did, but this did not stop players from having to wait in queues for hours to be able to play, with login queue numbers ranging in the thousands. I had a friend who posted a screenshot of him waiting to play the game. He was literally number 2,000 in queue, and his estimated wait time to be able to log in was 97 minutes. So... yeah. This just strengthens what we talked about, a week or two ago on the show, where I was like, yeah, I'm not going to play this at launch. Pretty much strengthens that. Now, to be fair, Blizzard has already begun adding new realms to the game, but it's apprehensive to add too many despite this initial interest, because essentially, they don't want to add just a shitload of servers, and then when people fall off of it, now they just have all these empty realms. You know? They don't want to... Basically, you can't unclose that door. If they add a bunch of realms to deal with this initial hype, what's going to happen when the hype dies down and now you just have a bunch of dead servers clogging up your shit? So, they're skeptical. I've got a quote here. They say, quote, "Our top priority in planning for WoW Classic's launch has been ensuring that we are laying the groundwork for strong realm communities that will endure over the months and years to follow, which is why we're cautiously opening new servers to meet demand," end quote. That's some real shit. The idea of realm community was a thing in Vanilla WoW, simply because there weren't that many realms.
Yeah.
So, you felt proud of your realm, and that's something that they want to bring back with WoW Classic, and I respect that. So I respect that they didn't launch this with, 40 realms to choose from. But at the same time, when you're releasing the game with such a good value, anybody with an active WoW subscription can dive into this. It's only $15 a month. Anybody can dive into this WoW Classic. So there's a really low barrier of entry, which is great, but that means you're going to have a lot of people who are anxious to check it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the trick is going to be wait for a couple of months for this initial hype to sort of die down, and then jump in. Which is what we're doing.
Yep.
I do fully want to play it. I'm very hyped for WoW Classic. Don't get me wrong. I would love nothing more than to play that game, because I have such an affinity and such a massive love in my heart for Vanilla WoW. But it is not in the cards right now. I knew this was going to happen too. I called it a week or two ago. Whenever it was we were talking about this, I was like, this launch is going to be a fucking disaster. I'm not going to be there for it. So, anyway, moving along, we've got a couple of interesting game announcements that happened this week. So, Capcom is putting me one step closer to having the entire Mega Man series on my Switch. This was actually, unfortunately, leaked a little bit ahead of time, but Capcom officially announced the Mega Man 0/ZX Legacy Collection, which combines all 4 Mega Man Zero games and both Mega Man ZX games in a single package, coming to Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and PC on January 21st, 2020. I probably just spoke fucking Greek to you, didn't I?
I don't give a shit about Mega Man.
You probably don't even know anything about the Mega Man Zero series, do you?
Don't give a single fuck.
Exactly. I figured not. But the Mega Man Zero games, they were originally released on the GBA. The first Mega Man Zero collection was released in 2010 for the Nintendo DS. The Mega Man ZX games are a sequel series released on the DS and include Mega Man Zero ZX and Mega Man Zero ZX Advent. These are kind of more So the interesting thing about the different Mega Man series is that they have different kind of like styles to them. They aren't just all playing like Mega Man. The Mega Man Zero games and the ZX games are kind of like Metroidvania Mega Man games a little bit. This collection will have included enhancements. It's going to have things like HD smoothing filters, an optional casual scenario mode that will ease the game's difficulty. These games are notoriously difficult. They're very hard. So that'll kind of help. And a save assist system that's going to create mid-mission save points for you. So this should make these games a lot more palatable for a casual audience. Of course, like previous Legacy collections, the game will feature a collection of art and music from the series. And in addition, 10 exclusive soundtracks will be available for those who pre-order the game across all of the games. So you're going to have 10 exclusive pieces of music for those who pre-order. So really cool. I love what Capcom's been doing with these Mega Man Legacy collections. I'm so glad that they're bringing them all to Switch, because I just want to have everything on my Switch. Just all the Mega Man games in a little cozy home on my Switch. Just makes me happy. Looking forward to that. This, maybe you'll care about. Todd, are you a fan of the Lion King and Aladdin games from the 90s?
Not really.
Did you ever play them?
I did play the Lion King one.
Yeah. What? No, let me ask you this. Do you remember what system you played it on?
No.
That's more important than you might think, because it actually was quite different between the different systems. Now, the reason I ask you this is because this was first revealed at a GameStop Managers Conference that took place in Tennessee this week, but it was later officially confirmed. The beloved Lion King and Aladdin games are being re-released for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Switch. It is a 2-game bundle, and it's called Disney Classics Aladdin and the Lion King. It will be released both digitally and physically this fall for $29.99. Now, the different versions of these games were vastly different from one another. Between the Genesis version, the Super Nintendo versions, and the Game Boy versions were all very different.
I think I played it on the Game Boy.
Okay. Yeah, so they were all extremely different. I played them both on Super Nintendo. I had a friend who had a Genesis, and I played those versions too. Again, each of them essentially completely different games. But what's nice is when you buy this bundle, you can actually pick which of the versions you can play. So there are 3 versions of each game that are available for that you can choose to play, which is good because, again, each version is essentially a different game. It's basically 6 games. And of course, this bundle comes loaded with special features as well. The games will obviously be upscaled to HD 1080p resolution, although you can still access the original versions of the games. A watch mode will allow you to play a pre-recorded version of the game on your screen and just watch it being played, basically. And you can jump in at any time to resume play yourself. So that's interesting. A full rewind feature is available, which is kind of standard now with a lot of these HD re-releases of classic games. But the rewind feature should make these, again, notoriously difficult games a little bit easier to get through by today's standards. There will also be an explorable museum of assets, such as concept art, interviews, and the ability to listen to both games' soundtracks in their entirety. That's really cool. Both games have really great chiptune soundtracks that are sort of like chiptune versions of classic Disney songs. So, this is something that interests you at all?
Not really.
You don't want to reclaim a little bit of your childhood? Go dip back into Aladdin on Game Boy a little bit?
My childhood is dead.
I
don't remember my childhood. It's dead and buried.
It's not worth that to dig up the corpse of young Todd. To play Aladdin on Game Boy with young zombie Todd.
It would simply be living a new life. Because he's long dead.
Speaking of things that are long dead, Todd. Segue. Telltale Games has risen from the ashes. At least in name.
But it's like by people who didn't even work there.
Exactly. A group of investors who notably never worked at Telltale Games announced their plans this week to revive the legendary adventure game studio that was tragically shuttered last September. Can you believe? That's incredible to me. Telltale shut down almost a year ago.
Damn.
I can't believe it's been that long. When I saw that, I was like, fuck. That's incredible. I can't believe it's been that long. Where'd the year go, man? Anyway, this company is supposedly going to revive Telltale in Malibu, California. And the new owners have purchased rights to sell old Telltale games and retain some of their intellectual properties. So their plan is to relist a lot of old Telltale games that have been delisted, and then take their kind of like IP that they still own and make new ones. So stuff like the Wolf Among Us and stuff like that. They want to make new games in those series. Speaking with Polygon, they stated that, quote, some workers from the original Telltale games will be offered freelance roles with full-time positions possible in the future, end quote. Of course, many of these people have gone on to work elsewhere in the year after Telltale's closing.
It's like, come on, dude.
Like, they have other jobs now, probably, guys. And furthermore, they will likely not be interested in revisiting Telltale's shambling corpse for a possible full-time position in the future.
Sounds so stupid.
So, what these people will soon learn is that simply resurrecting Telltale's name does not make good video games. People make good video games.
Fucking Pet Cemetery in this bitch.
Some real shit. This was such an odd story to read.
When I saw the Oracle's article, it made me laugh.
Yeah, it's just so strange. And this is actually something that the Oracle Jason Schreier posted on Twitter. He was like, could you imagine if like Kotaku was shut down, everybody was fired and laid off from Kotaku, and then like months later, a year later, some random motherfuckers just tried to resurrect Kotaku with like out of nowhere, and they're like, hey, like we can hire you back on as a freelancer, or maybe you could get full time.
It's like, what?
What kind of horse shit is that? Just let Telltale die, man. We've already mourned Telltale. It's over. You know? It's over. Just let it go. And I just can't imagine that anybody is going to be supportive of this decision. And indeed, I have not seen anybody really on board with this.
It's like what? My whole reaction was like when I first saw the article, I'm like, but why though? It's like
they
just
don't
let it die.
They weren't like really upfront about which IP specifically they still own the rights to. I think they did specifically name drop The Wolf Among Us, but I think that's about it. They don't like the licensed IPs like Game of Thrones, Batman. Like Telltale worked largely in licensed IPs, so a lot of that shit is not available to these guys anymore. They could conceivably maybe make another like Tales from the Borderlands game.
Yeah.
A season 2 of Wolf Among Us or something like that, I think, possibly. But again, I don't see this going over well. I don't know. This is very weird to me. This whole thing is weird to me. And I don't think people are going to support it if it happens. I don't think this is going to be a good return.
Stop trying to make Telltale happen.
Well, like, Telltale had goodwill with its fans before it closed. And it still wasn't making money.
Yeah, but that's the thing. This isn't the Telltale that closed.
Exactly.
This is
So, like, why do you think you can step in and suddenly make money?
Do you know? Yeah, you know what this reminds me of?
What?
So, it's a completely different like thing, but it really. So, you know Philip DeFranco.
Yeah.
So he like he did the whole thing with SourceFed.
Right.
And then there was SourceFed Nerd, SourceFed all that shit. And then a bunch of bullshit happened, like, company-wise. Mm-hmm. And then the SourceFed Nerd channel just randomly became now this nerd, basically. Like, just dead ass, just taking that channel and just taking all the subscribers that were subscribed to SourceFed Nerd. It's like, hey, how you doing? It's like, what? Dude, the backlash. I remember the backlash they got. I wasn't even watching SourceFed at the time. But, like, the backlash they got on that shit was hilarious.
Oh, God.
Because, dude, it was just like, it's like, what the fuck you assholes think you guys are doing?
I vaguely remember this, because didn't they lose, like, so much traffic?
Well, yeah, well, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're just going to randomly just take over this channel? Like, we weren't subscribed to you. Like, these people weren't subscribed to you. Right. They were subscribed to SourceFed Nerd. Like, what the fuck is this? It was a shit show, and it was hilarious.
So strange. I just don't know what they hope to gain from this. I don't know. Doesn't seem like anything's going to come from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a strange thing to see happen this week, but we'll see where it goes, I guess. I, for one, will not be supporting this new Telltale. They will not be getting any of my money. I don't care if they do make Wolf Among Us Season 2. I'm good. I'll pass.
I think that's like one of the few Telltale series I beat.
I really enjoyed Wolf Among Us Season 1, and we've talked ad nauseum about how great Tales from the Borderlands Season 1 was.
Love it.
But I've come to terms with the fact that they're dead and they're never coming back. At least not in the way that I want them to.
This is essentially, this whole thing is just Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gone. Todd, I've got, I believe, one last piece of news here before we move on to our final topic to end the show. So Yacht Club Games held their first Yacht Club Games Presents stream this week, which is kind of a Nintendo Direct-inspired live stream event where they drop some Shovel Knight-related news. Namely, it was new trailers for the long-anticipated King of Cards expansion and multiplayer brawler Shovel Knight Showdown, which they attached a December 2019 release date to both. This is welcome news after a delay earlier this year. They were actually supposed to come out in like April this year, but as both of those games kind of grew in size, they required further development. They've essentially made like two big-ass games now, and they needed further development for both of them. Yacht Club Games, remember, is an indie studio. They're not some big AAA studio. So, King of Cards, for what it's worth, looks varied and fun. It's got a full game inside of it, a full card game inside of it called Joustus, which is built into the game. And Yacht Club actually went as far as to say that this makes King of Cards essentially two games in one. Joustus is apparently so deep that it is like literally like having like a little card game inside of your main game. So, and then we also got Shovel Knight Showdown, which looks to be a frenetic brawler that allows you to play as one of the many characters in the game, including all of the unplayable knights and several NPCs. So you can play as like all the knights that you couldn't previously play as. Tinker Knight, Polar Knight, all these cool knights from the game. As far as NPCs, like Mona, who is an NPC, kind of the love interest of Plague Knight, she was revealed to be playable in this trailer, and there will be more characters revealed in the coming months. So, looks interesting. They detailed the amiibo functionality for the upcoming 3-pack, which features Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and King Knight. I've had that, by the way, I've had that amiibo 3-pack pre-ordered for like over a year now. And they keep delaying it because they want to release it with the game, like with King of Cards.
Yeah.
But because that's not coming out in December, I think by the time that finally comes out in December, I think I will literally have had that amiibo pack pre-ordered for like a year and a half. So anyway, they detailed what the amiibo functionality is actually going to do, and it's actually pretty cool. So the amiibo will be unlocking some like really cool looking cosmetic armor for their respective knights. So like Plague Knight's got this really cool looking armor set, and so does Spectre Knight and King Knight. They're cosmetic, but it's gonna be cool to see in Shovel Knight Showdown when you're playing against people that just don't have these armor sets, you know?
Yeah.
And it also unlocks these like they're calling them fairies, where it's like kind of like little mini versions of like Spectre Knight, Plague Knight, and King Knight, and they kind of fly around and help you in various ways. Like it looked like King Knight's fairy actually probably causes more gold to drop and like collects gold for you, it looked like. So, little helpful things like that. And there's more amiibo functionality apparently being revealed in the future. And this was not announced during the stream, but a friend of mine who's a GameStop manager and is currently at the GameStop Managers Conference told me that a golden Shovel Knight amiibo was announced at the conference. And weirdly enough, it was not announced during the stream, and I don't even see it on GameStop's website yet. So I don't know if that was something that is coming soon, or if that was a cat that was not supposed to be let out of the bag, or what. But evidently, a golden Shovel Knight amiibo is on the way. So that's something, if you're an amiibo fan like I am. Finally, they closed out their stream announcing a new game called Shovel Knight Dig, which looks to be a 16-bit collaboration with mobile and browser-based developer Nitrome Games. Now, you hear that and you're worried immediately, right? I know how you are, Todd. You hear the words mobile, and you immediately begin to shudder. Shudder and cringe over there.
Mobile gaming is not gaming.
But it is worth noting, Todd, that in a PlayStation blog post by Yacht Club's David D'Angelo, he made it sound like Nitrome was actually mostly helping produce the pixel art for the game. Pixel art, as you may know, is very laborious, and is when you're talking about a pixel game, most of the time developing the game is spent on the art, because pixel art is so hard to do. It just takes a lot of time. That's why even something like Bloodstained, which was essentially a spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night, did not go for pixel art. It went for this sort of 2.5D kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even though Symphony of the Night is like the most gorgeous pixel art of all time. So it's very hard to make pixel art. It takes a long time. But this sort of looks like, a lot of people want Shovel Knight 2 essentially to be like Super Shovel Knight, to be a kind of like 16-bit Super Nintendo looking game. And Shovel Knight Dig sort of looks like it's scratching that itch a little bit. Shovel Knight Dig looks like a Super Nintendo game. Maybe a little bit more advanced, but the gameplay looks like it has randomized elements as you dig deeper into the earth. You're collecting gems. You're pursuing new villainous knights to take down. It reminds me a lot of Mr. Driller. If you've ever played that series, really fantastic old series. Kind of like a SteamWorld Dig kind of vibe, but still maintains the core Shovel Knight gameplay.
Okay.
We saw 2 new knights were revealed. Drill Knight and Spore Knight were revealed in this initial trailer. And, I mean, it looks like they are legitimate boss fights. Like, no bullshit. This looks like it looks like a unique take on, like, a Shovel Knight game, but it does look like a Shovel Knight game.
That's good.
Yeah. So, I'm excited. I mean, development of the game is already over a year underway, although Yacht Club did temper expectations by saying that it will not be released for quite some time. Despite the fact that they're already over a year into development on it. Again, these things just take time, but they wanted to give fans a taste on what's coming next for Shovel Knight. Being as with King of Cards and Shovel Knight Showdown and everything coming in December, they will ostensibly be wrapping up their support for Shovel Knight finally, after like 5 years. They've been supporting this game. So that's all I've got for the news, Todd. This being episode 117, we discussed off mic that we wanted to do something to end the show this week. We wanted to kind of take some time and take advantage of the fact that this is episode 117, 117 as it were, Todd. As you know well, the protagonist of the Halo series is John 117. Spartan 117. So I thought it would be fun to end the show by talking about some of our favorite Halo-related memories. What better time to do that than episode 117, Todd?
You only get one.
You only get 117, right?
Yeah.
So let's just, I just want to have a candid discussion. Doesn't have to be super long or anything, but just to sort of wrap a bow on this episode, on episode 117, I want to kind of talk about some of our favorite Halo memories.
Shit, honestly, one of my favorite memories is just that playthrough that we did through the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, we played through a few years ago. You and I played through the entirety of the Master Chief Collection together, completely in co-op. What a blast!
Completely in co-op, completely. Yeah, there was I swear to God, I don't remember exactly what I said, but there was an inside joke that it started with me accidentally hitting you in the back at one point.
And then it would just turn into a shit show.
Yes, but it's like I would say I said something with it after I did it. I don't remember what it was. I think it was fucking hilarious though.
I don't remember, but it always turns into a shit show whenever that happens because then it just becomes especially in Halo 1 where they spawn you right behind.
Oh, that's exactly. I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
it's like you basically spawn in front of me or some shit, and I was like, phew.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, my bad.
So whenever you would go to melee something or whatever, and whenever a load screen would happen, the second player or whoever is lagging behind will be loaded in directly in front of you, and then it's the same thing whenever whenever you die and you respawn. So it would just turn into this fucking shit show of us just meleeing each other in the back, piles of bodies everywhere.
It's just like there was so many good moments in that playthrough, but I do have to mention my favorite.
I already know what you're going to say.
Oh, that work.
Alpha Oni site.
Ooh, baby.
It was so disgusting that I remember the level's name, and I otherwise wouldn't remember the level's name.
Right. That's the only time I don't remember the levels of every fucking Halo game.
So this is a level in Halo ODST, and I don't remember why. Were we just trying to get the achievements?
So we were going for the par time on we were trying to beat the par time on every single level.
Yes.
And that one seemed like it was going to be the most difficult because that is the most combat heavy one.
It is a very combat heavy level. Just if you've never played the game, it is a level in which you essentially go into a building and like you just have to fend off just waves and waves and waves.
And the sheer level of, I think we failed it like once or twice.
Yeah.
And then the final attempt was this fucking disgusting display of just.
It was probably the cleanest like video game playing I've ever done in my life, to my memory.
Real shit.
It was so crisp. Like it was just so perfect. You could not, if you programmed the game to have the most optimal way of beating that level,
we were so coordinated with it. It was just like, oof.
If you ever see those like disgusting like old like early 2000s commercials like Cheeto dust check a corner or something like that kind of shit.
That's really
just it was bad. That was basically how it was.
I have so many dumb things with Halo, man, because it's just like I have like fucking years of just playing custom games through like Halo 3, Halo Reach and shit like that. And fucking Forge, like, dude, there was like so many cool like custom game modes, like the Predator like custom game mode.
I wanted to shout out Halo 3's Forge. I loved Forge.
Yeah.
In Halo 3.
I'm just remembering like the old like fun custom game modes. Like there was the ones that I think like the fondest ones I can think about are it's like the Cops and Robbers one where you would actually like
good.
Yeah. There was Cops and Robbers, the Predator one, which was fun, honestly.
Famously, didn't Griffball start as a custom Forge game?
I think it did, yeah.
And now it's actually, like a thing.
Yeah, it's the thing now. And then there's another game mode, which is, I don't know, I think Tyler might have came out with it, but it's either way. It was there was one that Tyler and we all used to play together was Baddies Sneak Up. And the deal is dead ass. Like, one person would spawn in a vehicle, or would spawn in a platform where a bunch of vehicles, and their goal was to get everybody else off the platform.
Mm.
And it worked Infection. It was an infection-based game mode. So after somebody died, they'd also get on the vehicle platform, get into a vehicle, and have to like knock the last person off.
Okay.
So here's the deal: in Halo Reach, Tyler made this whole map that was hilarious. It catered to just me and him.
Okay. So
there was a thing that only me and him... people found out about it, but in the beginning, we only knew about it. We could jump off at a certain point, and there would be this fucking thing that would lead us to a teleporter that would take us to a thing you can't see. It would be up top.
I respect that level of pettiness.
Oh, dude, it's good. And here's the deal. Here's the thing. So you'd spawn with, like, I think, like a random weapon or some shit, I think, in the game. In the game mode. But here's the deal. We would have our setups up there.
God.
We would have, like, I think I had a jetpack, a gravity hammer, and, like, a rocket launcher or some shit like that.
That's evil.
You'd have... Dude, it was fucking hilarious. And the thing is, we'd basically go up there, and he basically designed it to be like an ODST drop pod, basically.
Jesus Christ.
Like I'm like, oh my god, dude, it was so good. Like I still I remember that shit, dude. It was a little broken. I mean, he was evil too, because there was actually 2 teleporters. So if you didn't know about it and you just randomly found your way there, you might end up in a kill room.
Jesus.
So it was catered for Tyler and me, just to get our shit to be assholes.
That's funny.
God.
I miss the days of the custom games and the Forge. I even liked, you would see those like those highly rated Forge maps where people just made like racetracks.
Oh, that's another one. I don't remember what this game mode was called, bro. But it was basically a racetrack. Oh, Duck Hunt. It was Duck Hunt.
Uh-huh. Oh, you know what? I think I remember that.
Yeah, so somebody starts as a sniper, and they're
Right.
like, you're driving around on a mongoose and shit.
Right.
Yes, dude, that was so fucking fun.
That was fun, yeah. But I even liked, I mean, I even liked just the standard racetracks. People, it would be like up in the air.
Yeah.
And you'd have these cool like race courses that people would spend time making suspended in midair and stuff.
God, there was so much cool shit, dude. And I remember, oh man, I remember so much dumb shit. Another memory that I have is like I remember being very, very sleep deprived one day.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking like I was up for like, I don't want to say.
Oh Lord.
Could have been a couple days. I don't really remember.
Fueled by Mountain Dew.
Fueled by Mountain Dew, and we were doing a glitch. Where like I don't remember if you remember this, but you can get into a fucking you can get into one of the a trash can on Halo 3, and you can basically fly that shit.
Yes. I remember that well.
I was delusional as a motherfucker, talking about just random shit, just random shit. God. Oh, I have to shout out because it is a Halo memory when I almost had a heart attack.
Oh yeah. Are you referring to when you drank like 18 Mountain Dews or something?
So that was Halo 3. It was Halo 3. And it was Halo 3, and we were sitting there. I don't think you were already basically, you were still in school, but I think you're like done with your homeschooling.
I would have been done, yeah. By the time Halo 3 came out, I had already graduated, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think had a couple, like at least a week left of whatever grade I was in. I don't fucking remember. I don't give a shit. So it was, I think it was like you, Dan, me, and then I think it was Ivy?
Probably, yeah.
And it was and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna stay up and play Halo with you guys. We drink 24. I drank 2 12-packs. I drank 24 cans.
Jesus Christ.
And it wasn't like this like spread out thing.
No, it wasn't. I remember you were just pounding. I remember at one point you're like, oh, Dad, it's pretty funny. I think I just felt my heart skip a beat.
No, like I'm gonna try to make the noise, but it was basically my heart did this. Stopped.
And this is why you're completely sterile now and incapable of having children.
Real shit. And I'm also I don't really fuck with Mountain Dew like that anymore.
Do you think you were created because you were so fueled by Dew in that moment? You think you've created like a little aversion to Mountain Dew now?
A little bit. Like I'll still drink Mountain Dew, but not in like
those quantities.
Yeah. Because it's like if I go to Taco Bell, I'm gonna get my Baja Blast. Fuck that shit's science.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. This episode, by the way, is now officially going to be called Fueled by Mountain Dew. It just has to now. But it's funny. I remember that. So one of the memories I was going to bring up is probably my favorite Halo related memory, just because I look back on it with such fondness. I can't remember what the context was, but you were playing Halo 3.
Mm-hmm.
I was at your house, and we're playing Halo 3, like, the last level. Maybe it was on Legendary. It must have been on Legendary, because, like, you had to restart it so many times. But you were listening to Blow Me Away by fucking Breaking Benjamin.
You never let me live this down.
And you were listening to it on repeat, just like...
I ruined that song for you.
I grew like to hate that song so much because every time you would die, you would restart the song.
I know.
And like, it was back because you remember on Xbox 360, you could actually like rip your CDs and have them on your console.
Yeah.
So it was just this vicious cycle of like we would die or you would die. I can't remember if I was playing with you or not, but I was definitely there.
I think you were just sitting on the couch next to me.
I think I was just on the couch watching you play or whatever. And you would die, and then just like there was just a cycle of you like bringing up the dashboard, restarting the song, restarting the level, and you'd like keep justifying. You're just the song just goes so well. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Wanted to fucking blow
Roll
your
me
brains out.
away, and I'm just like fuck, dude. Like, and you just see me in the background, like slowly raising a gun to my head. It was so bad. Only the strongest will survive.
You were not the strongest. You were weak.
I must have heard that song 30 fucking times.
Yeah.
It was so
It's
bad.
just I could honestly talk about like, but you know, one thing that was always funny for like Halo with me is like, especially like Reach, when they added like you can like have like popular screenshots.
Yeah.
The amount of pictures of cat's ass.
Yeah. That's a thing.
That shit was ridiculous.
People would try to make like hentai like out of guns laying on the ground.
Holy shit. The thing is, like, dude, it's like dude, these motherfuckers put in time and effort for that.
Oh, they definitely did. They were pretty good. They were doing like a good job.
And I feel like there's always like, if I really like wanted to delve deep, there's like definitely probably some good like oh my god, like some good firefight shit.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know why we're not talking about this. We got recon.
We did get
legitimately.
Recon. Yeah.
We did the whole like mythic bullshit, you know.
Yep.
And that was in the day, man. Like when like, you know, that was something that you had to legitimately accomplish.
You had to really work to get that, because so it was funny because Recon originally you could only get it if a Bungie employee gave it to you.
Yeah. And then it's so that it became a whole thing with like it was throughout ODST and Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST, I think, if I remember correctly.
So
right?
They eventually made it to where you could get it, but it was very difficult.
I remember it being ridiculous. I know we had to use, and it was time based too, bro.
Oh yeah.
It was like time based on like certain like days. You had to do shit on certain days. Like I think there's one that you had to do on like the 7th of like a month or some shit.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at this. It's Vidmaster achievements. There's 7 Vidmaster achievements, and that was how you unlocked the Recon armor.
What are they?
So after 9/25/08, which is the year anniversary of Halo 3, complete the final level on 4-player legendary live co-op with Iron On and everybody in Ghosts.
Yep, we did that.
So we did.
That was fun.
We did that. So Iron, which skull is Iron?
Iron is, I'm pretty sure if one person dies, we have to start over.
That is it. Yep, that is it. So
I remember that shit, dude. That shit was hell.
That and by the way, to complete that level with everybody in Ghosts versus Warthogs is also very hard.
Well, the problem with that, the problem with the Ghosts is if somebody falls back.
Yeah.
If one person falls back, to become the weakest link, and then it turns into a deadly cycle. You need to kind of stick together, but it's just like ugh.
But we did it. That is by far the hardest Vidmaster challenge. They have a similar one in Halo 3 ODST where complete Coastal Highway, which is one of the last levels in ODST, 4-player legendary live co-op with Iron On and without using Warthogs or Scorpion tanks.
Yeah, dude, that one was a little ass. I remember that.
There's also
not as ass, but it's ass.
Yeah, so there's also finish any campaign level on legendary solo without shooting or throwing a grenade.
I don't remember which level I did for that, but I'm pretty sure there was like a legitimate level for that, like to fucking do. And I remember, like, I wish I still had the screenshot, but we have the screenshot of like everybody that basically got recon together.
Yes.
Just like all together with their recon and shit. It's like I think I had like my recon and like my Hayabusa.
Yeah,
like
the
katana,
Hayabusa armor, like an edgelord. Yeah, everybody did that, dude. The katana on the back and everything. In firefight on any mission, pass the 4th set on 4-player heroic live co-op. That's hard because the sets are long. There's also in Halo 3, find all the hidden skulls on the mythic maps.
Yep. Did that.
Enter into a ranked or social playlist with 7 XP on the 7th of the month.
Yep, that one was just the really stupid, like, just time-based one. It's like, oh, let's sit there and, yeah.
Yeah, and then I've got get the rank of lieutenant in any playlist in the new XP progression system.
Yep.
So once you did all of those, you could have recon. So,
oh god, there was just that right there is actually like honestly one of my favorite memories. Is that picture of all of us with recon.
Yeah, I mean that was a legitimate gaming accomplishment, unlocking recon, and it's funny because like that is something that I will know. I mean, you notice some of our fondest memories. We shit on Halo 3 a lot between the two of us, but some of my fondest memories do come from Halo 3.
From Halo 3, but it's just like it's in hindsight looking at that game. Like if it's like when I was playing that game, you know, in the multiplayer, I loved it. It's a great game. It was a great game at the time. But like, looking back now, to me, it's arguably it's probably arguably towards the bottom for me.
I think campaign-wise, definitely, but
definitely the bottom. But I think if we were just ranking the multiplayer, I'd rank it towards the top, honestly.
Yeah,
because it's just like I had so much fun playing that game, and for personally for me, best multiplayer in Halo would be like between 2 and Reach.
For me, it's definitely 2.
But it's like Reach is definitely a contender for that. Like Reach is so fucking good.
I loved Reach, but one of the things I was going to talk about is my first ever LAN party at my friend Tyler's house. When I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but I had my first ever LAN party, and there was probably like 16 dudes there. Like we were kids, but we were like teenagers or whatever in junior high, I think, when Halo 2 came out. And we all got together. Like it was just that typical, you know, again, Mountain Dew, pizza, stay up all night, link up your Xboxes. We have like multiple TVs, and we just played Halo 2 like all night. And that's the kind, you can't replicate that anymore. You know, that shit's dead now. But I'll never forget that. Like LAN parties were awesome. Like LAN parties aren't a thing anymore. So that was definitely...
Oh, yeah, LAN parties are dead as hell now.
LAN parties were great. And then once Xbox Live came into the mix, that was a huge part of my gaming, the time I spent on my original Xbox in my Halo 2 clan. But yeah, I mean, moreover, also going back to Halo 3, I was one of the first people in my city to get Halo 3. I was among the first in line for Halo 3 back in that day, and we probably had in the tiny little plaza that my GameStop had. And by the way, I would go on to work at my GameStop shortly thereafter, which is weird to think. But I was like one of the first like 10 in line, and seeing the parking lot like slowly fill up to where eventually I think there was like 600 people there.
That's fucking insane. That's another thing. Back in the day when midnight releases,
it was massive.
Dude, like midnight releases were like a fucking thing. Like, man, it's like those died. And also, I don't know if you heard me like kind of chuckle to myself. I remembered another thing. Is he's not done.
I don't remember the details. It was something about like somebody had the gravity hammer and was killing.
It was me.
It was you?
I had a gravity hammer. It was. I don't remember. I think his name was Nelson.
I don't remember. But it
was something with an N.
Is it? And I keep thinking it's Newt.
It's something with an N.
I don't remember.
I just knew it was an N, and it was. I think we're doing a campaign. We're doing the campaign.
We're doing the campaign. You got a hold of the gravity hammer. You started like killing us with it, and then you would be like, I'm done. And then we would continue on, and then you would kill us again. He's not done. That was funny. But yeah, just dude, that Halo 3 midnight launch is such a nostalgic tinge for me. We had seriously, the plaza that my GameStop is in is small. We had people, that plaza was filled with people, just a sea of fucking people. We spilled onto the street. There were people coming into the Walmart parking lot. The cops were called because we had a live band there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the cops were called and had to come and like investigate the noise complaints and shit like that. It was like intense. And then like, you know, coming out of that, like I was actually legitimately scared coming out of the GameStop with my copy of Halo 3. It was me and like a few of my friends, and like we all walked out with our copies of the game, and I just remember like being a little bit legitimately scared that we were gonna get like jumped.
You were so ready to finish the fight.
It was just there's such a tinge of nostalgia there. So one of my favorite YouTube videos of all time, I'll have to link you to this. Maybe we'll watch this together after we get done recording. I'll put a link to it in the video description. It's by a guy, his name's Reed Nicewonder, and it's not some big popular video, but I found this video after Halo 3 came out on YouTube. This video is like fucking 12 years old now. And it is about this guy who him and his friends did the Halo 3 midnight launch and came home and played it in co-op, but it so perfectly encapsulates the nostalgia of it all. Like, it so perfectly encapsulates the midnight launch and, like, buying all the Mountain Dew and the pizza and shit like that and, like, getting your friends and playing co-op. Like, it is the most nostalgic video in the world to me. I watch it, like, every few months or so, and I just get misty-eyed thinking about those days. Like, Halo was so good. I mean, hell, even going back to Halo 1. Like, yeah. Like, even Halo 1, like, I hold really special memories of, like...
I want to say one thing about the remastered stuff, like the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
Is it, like, crazy? It's crazy to me, but I truly feel that the updated, like, you know, the cutscenes... What company did that?
Blur.
Blur, yeah. Is it wrong that those updated cutscenes... those are what the cutscenes felt like to me
in your mind
at the time.
Yeah, in your mind. Yeah. It was so funny when Halo 1 came out. Like, that changed the way my friends and I interacted with each other. Mm-hmm. Because before you would kind of talk about, okay, like, what game am I going to bring over? Like, whenever I would go have, like, sleepovers or whatever at my friend's house, hang out with my friends for the weekend or whatever. Like, what am I bringing? Am I bringing, like, Tony Hawk, GoldenEye, like, what's going down? When Halo came out, it wasn't even a question anymore.
Yeah, it's like Halo, motherfucker.
It was just Halo. Like, my experiences with my friends, basically from 2001 onward, it was like, we're playing Halo. You know, like, it was just Halo. There was no question. And I just, man, those times in Blood Gulch, man. I'll never forget some of this stuff. The campaigns have always been great. I loved, we already said earlier, but I loved playing through them all with you. I anticipate playing through Reach with you.
Oh, dude, that's happening. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's happening when that gets added to the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah. And, of course, playing Halo Infinite with you whenever that launches.
Of course.
You know,
like,
keep the traditions.
Halo co-op is essentially just a thing between us now, so it's like...
I just want to, like, even though we've already done it all and stuff, I just want to revisit those games. It's just, there's something special about Halo, man.
No, yeah, there definitely is.
Like, the Halo has some secret sauce that no other, like, shooter series has. It really does.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think maybe a little bit of that is missing when you come into the 343 games, but even still, it's still Halo.
Yeah, it's still Halo. Me and you definitely enjoy the 343 Halos more than most. But
anyway, I feel like we could talk about this all night.
Oh, honestly, I could definitely go for longer.
Let's wrap it up though, Todd. It's getting late. The folks at home are already sick of listening to us talk about Halo. Anything else you want to throw in before we wrap it up?
I think that's about it, man.
Thanks for listening, folks. Get fucking dunked on. Finish this fight. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.